Endowed Professorships at the University of Hong Kong are created to provide perpetual support to areas of academic excellence. Forward to our second century, we pledge with resolve to uphold our tradition of knowledge, heritage, and service. We are truly grateful to the benefactors for the Endowed Professorships. We shall have a total of 72 Endowed Professorships by the end of this ceremony. Each of these gifts comes with a story and a dream. This confluence of selfless generosity and academic ambition will build a better tomorrow. May I now present the Lam Wu Professorship in Biomedical Engineering.
My research is about the biomedical imaging, particularly the magnetic resonance imaging, system engineering, and the method development. So in the past 25 years, we've been working in the field of MRI, mainly to use water molecule as a tracer to delineate human structural anatomy and to map the physiological changes and quantify the brain functions. We are currently at the forefront of the research, MRI research, particularly the development of MRI methods for preclinical study, for tissue characterization, as well as for molecular and cellular imaging.
By studying the physics of MRI imaging, Professor Wu has been able to come up with new methods which will improve clinical diagnostics and also new ways to study the working of the biological systems.
I'd like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank the Lam Wu family and foundation for supporting my research. With this endowment, I think we'll push for next generation of MRI imaging methodology. In the end, I hope this will lead to breakthrough that can benefit the modern healthcare and basic life science advancement.
I invite Dr. Samuel Lam to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Pro-Chancellor. Mr. Pro-Chancellor, I present Lam Wu Professor in Biomedical Engineering at XU.
My lifelong research has been in the area of historic preservation, particularly related to conservation policies as well as policies on maintenance and methodologies on adaptive reuse. In Hong Kong, I've been helping government as serving as chairman of the Antiquities Advisory Board for a good number of years, as well as Urban Renewal Authority, of which one of the projects I had worked on was Bak Chi Lane as well as the Central Market. And in Bak Chi Lane, I've been helping them to develop the storyboard of how to restore the Bak Chi Lane to where Sun Yat-sen and all these stories were related.
Professor David Leung is a pioneer in heritage conservation in East Asia. Some 10 years ago, he established Hong Kong U's very own architectural heritage program, which runs very successfully. During the course of his career, his writings and his professional activities have contributed to the designation of no less than 3 UNESCO heritage sites.
I'm deeply honored to be bestowed this first Endowed Professorship in the Built Environment, and I'm deeply grateful to Mrs. Helen Simon for her generous support. This endowment comes in very timely, especially when we are in the process of setting up an architectural conservation lab, where the teaching and research can go hand in hand for the students in the architectural conservation program.
I invite Mrs. Jill Galley and Mrs. Helen Lang to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Pro-Chancellor. Mr. Pro-Chancellor, I present Lady Edith Footwall, Professor in the Built Environment, David D.Y. Long. I invite Professor Vivian Tam Wong to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Pro-Chancellor. Mr. Pro-Chancellor, Professor Samping Lee, Dean of Medicine, will represent the university to receive a certificate.
Population aging is a big issue. Elderly patients easily suffer from osteoporotic fracture. Currently, there are no effective treatment. My focus of research are mainly in biomechanics and biomaterials. One of the recent development of our research team is to develop the biomaterial. This bone cement has some special drugs inside. It's not only to support the human body or fractured bone, but also to stimulate localized bone formation.
Professor Lu's research has been very important in that he has really bridged the gap between basic science research and clinical medicine and clinical surgery by helping us to translate basic science discovery and taking it all the way from the laboratory to the bedside.
Well, it's my great pleasure to take this opportunity to appreciate Mrs. Ella Ng for her generous donation to set up the Endowed Professorship. The donation will be used to enhance the bioengineering research, especially for us to develop the next generation of the bone cement.
I invite Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Professor Roland Chin, to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Pro-Chancellor. Mr. Pro-Chancellor, I present Ng Chong Mun Professor in Orthopedic Bioengineering, William W. Liu.
My main area of research is on the biology of human stem cell, and in particularly related to how we can apply it clinically. We are looking at how the human body or the in vivo environment affect the biology of the stem cell. We have been using hematopoietic stem cell, or in general term the people call it bone marrow transplant, in clinical situation. In the field of stem cell, the future application is really many ways. So, for example, we can use this stem cell for tissue regeneration. We can also use the stem cell to repair some of the damaged organ.
Professor Chan's research work is actually very important because he worked on the biology of the stem cells and trying to apply the stem cells to therapy of the patients with related diseases.
I would like to thank Dr. Chou Yin-zhou, who donated these endowments to our department for the advancement in the pediatric research. In the future, this endowment not only benefit the stem cell research, but it will benefit all the clinical and laboratory research related to pediatric healthcare.
I invite Dr. Chow Yan Chow to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Pro-Chancellor. The Pro-Chancellor, I present Chow Yan Chow, Professor in Pediatrics and Adolescent Medicine, Godfrey C.F. Chan.
My research is in the area of rheumatology and clinical immunology. There are a number of rheumatic disorders, and many of these rheumatic disorders are due to the abnormalities of the patient's immune system. So our main area of research is to try to find out what happens to the immune cells of these patients. We have a comprehensive research program looking at, first of all, the underlying reasons why people with lupus and rheumatoid arthritis get the condition. We also look at the immunological changes of these conditions. With this knowledge of the changes in the immunological system of these patients, we're also trying to find ways to correct them and to achieve a therapeutic outcome.
Professor Lau's research focuses on the pathogenesis of lupus, as this disease affects chiefly young Asian women and is associated with significant morbidity and mortality. Breakthroughs in his research will have significant therapeutic benefits.
We are very grateful to Mr. C.K. Yu and his foundation for supporting the research of our division in rheumatic diseases and clinical immunology. With this endowment, we will be able to set up a basic research program looking at the root immunological changes of systemic lupus erythematosus. We will also be able to set up a program to look at how one can therapeutically alter these changes to the patient's benefit.
I invite Mr. Daniel C.K. Yu to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Pro-Chancellor. Mr. Pro-Chancellor, I present Daniel C.K. Yu, Professor in Rheumatology and Clinical Immunology, Lau Chak Sing.
My research focuses on the ethical issues of living donor liver transplantation, and it's in reduction of the risk to the living liver donor, as well as to maximize survival of the recipients. The focus areas is on modifying the donor patient so as to tailor it to according to the liver anatomy of donor, as well as the graft size requirement of the recipient. By reducing the graft size requirement, we can improve the safety of the donor operation, as well as to treat the patients with liver cancer that would have been denied liver transplantation based on conventional criteria. After this new procedure, they can live a near normal life.
Professor Chan's research is focused in living donor liver transplantation, especially small for size syndrome. His research has extended the frontier of living donor liver transplantation and improved the safety of the donor as well as the outcome of the recipient.
I must thank the Li Shifan Medical Foundation for their generosity, which will benefit all patients that we treat in liver transplantation. This endowment will facilitate our research in living donor liver transplantation and improving the safety of this operation, and to save more life eventually of the patients who have otherwise incurable disease of the liver.
I invite Dr. Walton Lee to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Pro-Chancellor. Mr. Pro-Chancellor, I present Li Shifan Medical Foundation Professor in Surgery, Chan Shi Cheng.
Children are the future of our society, and their health is of paramount importance. My area of research is pediatric surgery. Pediatric surgery is the art and science of children with surgical diseases. The focus of my research is on the most challenging aspect of children's diseases, namely birth defects. Children are sometimes born with abnormalities during the development, resulting in organ malfunctioning or malformations. The research is to try to find out the cause and the mechanism of the diseases so that we can devise better cure, prevention, and prediction.
Professor Paul Tam is a truly outstanding surgeon-scientist in pediatric surgery. He has brought pediatric minimal invasive surgery into Hong Kong and into mainland China, and he has also developed an outstanding research laboratory on genetic studies of birth defect.
I would like to thank the Lee family for the generous donation for the Endowed Lee Shui Pui Professorship. We will make good use of this endowment to advance the area of pediatric surgery, particularly through research and training.
I invite Dr. Walton Lee to receive a certificate of appreciation from the Pro-Chancellor. Mr. Pro-Chancellor, I present Lee Shui Pui Professor in Surgery, Paul K.H. Tam.